Good evening, everyone. My name is Robert Simmons. My talk this evening is on my project PlagueScanner. And this is the first slide. Who am I? My name is, my handle is Shmoocon. It's Russian for duck-billed platypus. Why not? So I'm a senior threat intelligence researcher for Threat Connect. I'm a fresh person there. I've been there for 3 months now. It's a wonderful place to work. I love them. My Twitter handle and email address are down there. So what is the problem that I'm trying to solve here? So let's say you have a spear phishing attack, and the information that's in the PDF or the doc or whatever it is that you want to scan has sensitive information about the company where you work. So this poses a bit of a problem where one solution is to upload the file to an online multiple AD scanner site. You all know the name of it, but I'm not going to point any fingers at anyone. But online ones, that's a problem because you're going to be sharing that file with me. I don't think you want to share your company's private data with me, and anyone else that has a back-end intelligence login for said online site. So that's a bad idea. The second solution is, I'm also not going to point fingers at them, but there's a very, very expensive on-premise multiple AD scanner. So it's very, very expensive. So that's another, unless you're a big company, another non-starter. So solution number 3 was the way that I took. And so it's create an open source multiple AD scanner framework and share it with the world. So just to go over some of the background of this, you might all recognize this bar. This is where I started formulating the plan. I was speaking to an engineer from Apple and another guy who's a sysadmin at DataSet. I was talking to him about the whole idea of this, and he said, well, it's a good idea. So after a few rounds of drinks, I decided to start a project. So here are the basic components. The entire project is written in Python. And it uses the YAPC plugin system. You may recognize this from Mastiff, which 2 years ago there was a Shmoocon talk about Mastiff. Great product, by the way. It also uses 0MQ for messaging in between the VMs and the central system. I utilize QEMU and KVM. This is just the first step. I would love to have other virtualization systems available, but this is just the first one that I chose. I use kernel same-page merging for memory deduplication, so that's a component of KVM QEMU. I use the Pillow Python image library for doing screenshots, and I'll get into why I do screenshots a little bit later. And I use Tesseract OCR. And the output is JSON, and the reporting can be exported to Elasticsearch, because Elasticsearch is awesome. So basically, you bring the scanners. This is my sort of caveat. You bring the scanners, and you bring all the licenses, because that's all closed source stuff, not something I want to get into. So you bring all the stuff, and I bring the plugins and all of the instrumentation for each of the scanner engines. So there are basically 4 types of scanner engines. I know there could be a 5th here, which is an online one, but I don't want to really have it connected to anything that's online. So the first one, open source, such as ClamAD. The second type of scanner engine is one that has a Linux version, so it makes it fairly easy for you to instrument it and get output from it. The third type would be a Windows only, where the scanner engine is only available in Windows, but there's a CLI. And then the fourth is a troublesome one, or some that have a GUI. I don't want to point any fingers at this time, but you know they are out there. So GUI only is the fourth type. So why do I have OCR in here? It's for that fourth one. So if there's a scanner engine that has a difficult interface, or if it's just got a GUI, then I would take a screenshot and then run that screenshot through through OCR and then get that data out and put it into the JSON file output. So this is a bit of a very simplistic architectural diagram of how I have it set up. So up at the top is the submission, processing, and reporting element. The message queue is the little cloud there, and so that sends the jobs out to the various VMs, and I have a little agent in each one of the VMs. I wanted to make it easy for people to use, so the setup in the VMs is, the agent is kind of stupid, so it doesn't know a lot about the scanner engine. It actually gets the intelligence of how to use the scanner engine in the message queuing. So the person who's setting up each one of the VMs doesn't necessarily need to know too much or figure out, I don't need to have like 30 different agents for each one. I have one single agent for each one of the VMs. So some of the really cool features in here, like I said earlier, it utilizes kernel same-page merging. If you're familiar with this, this type of technology is utilized in a lot of different virtualization. It has different names in different types of virtualization, but it allows many VMs to share a lot of memory pages. So it deduplicates, and anything that has a common memory page among different VMs, there's only one copy of it that's used in the hypervisor level. So another thing that I love is ZeroMQ. It's a great message queue. I know a lot of people might use RabbitMQ, but I don't like the idea. I prefer ZeroMQ. I think it's very fast and very, very simple to set up. And of course, Elasticsearch, ELK is awesome. I love the ELK stack. So it allows you to do, if you have a historical set of output from the system, you'll be able to do statistics and any sort of fun data science with it. So some of the open issues that I have right now is daemonization. I would like to have something similar to other projects where there's an actual running daemon that sits there and receives and does the refereeing of the entire thing. Also, I haven't really solved the scanner updating problem because it's like herding cats. Every single scanner wants to update in different ways, and how do I want to have that work? It's not a solved problem yet. Also, I'd like to have resubmission automation so that if you have something that comes back with 0 hits from any of the scanner engines, you would be able to have a resubmission at a certain period of time so you can see if one of the scanner engines eventually hits for the file that you're looking at. I also, if you're familiar with the HoneyNet project, there's a protocol called HP feeds, which is awesome. Both the Thug project and Cuckoo both use HP feeds. And it's a publish and subscribe protocol where anyone that has an instance of my PlagueScanner would be able to turn on HP feeds output, and then you would be able to subscribe to that feed and get whatever I decide to have in the feed, whether it's the binary itself or whether it's just the JSON output or the data output from the system. Another thing is I want to develop some relationships with AV vendors. I know if anyone in the crowd works for an AV company, please come talk to me. I'd love to bend your ear. And then also, of course, one of the main problems of all time with open source projects is money. So, if you want to write me a check later, please come find me. Thank you. So I'd like to give, in my talk, I'd like to give a little shameless plug to my employer. So we have a free level account, so please sign up for a Threat Connect account. I love working there, the place is awesome. And so for the last couple minutes here, if you have any questions, I'll leave you with the really cute picture of the food trucks. Also, one more shameless plug. I need to thank the designer that I have, Wintry Gray. He's at 99designs.com, so he did all of the facelift for the project. He's awesome.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
How many engines have you successfully been able to have running at this?
Very good question. So right now I have 15. They're basically the ones that I've chosen as being the most beneficial or the most valuable. I aim to have the same number that the online site has. Sorry, I like to aim for the same number of scanners they have. They have some that are very obscure. There's a Chinese company on there, and a Vietnamese. I think I probably won't ever instrument them unless someone has a request for it. Yeah, there's a couple of very obscure ones that they work with.
What was the link again? Is there a link or?
Yes, so I'm actually having a little bit of posting difficulties. There's still a parking page on my site, but it'll have content at some point today or tomorrow. I'll go back to the front so you can see it's the same. Same domain as my email address at the bottom.
One more question. Based on what you tested, is there any particular engines that you found to be more better at finding evil, if you will, and ones that were worse?
It's a good question. So where I worked before, I worked on their automated malware analysis lab, and we had the very expensive bank. And so I actually, my employer and some of the other researchers on our team had done a paper a few years ago just about that, like how good are some of the PlagueScanner engines. And actually that company got into a little bit of a public fight with one of the scanner engines because they were saying that we didn't give them a very fair shake, where most of the submissions, like my whole system right now is basically a static analysis system. So their big complaint was that they have, you're actually running the malware in your system if you're unlucky enough to do that. And so they have heuristics and sort of active analysis in their scanner engine which will block things that it wouldn't necessarily block just by the static signature. I hope that is true.
Can't name names?
I don't like to name names. I don't like to
Was that paper published?
Yes, it was, but I don't work for that company. You can come and talk to me later. I'll tell you where it is. It's my former employer.
Question. So, how are you looking to update these? Because, again, you do a lot more scanners, but most of them have a scheduled update, or is that not a win for you, or where are you?
So that's a good question, and like I said, that's one of my unsolved issues, and I'd love to have help with that. So contact me, help me out on the project.
How robust is your support for executing sample?
None. I don't execute sample at all. That's what, like I was telling him, I would like to, in the future, have the system do more dynamic analysis where I actually execute in the VM, but right now it's just a static file scan. Thank you.
All right.